Hello everybody, I want to do a New York Giants video. So, a lot of people are like, there aren't really good quarterbacks in this draft, and by number 3, the 2 top quarterbacks could be gone. So, they're like, there aren't any other good quarterbacks, so either wait for the second round for someone to fall, or don't draft anybody. Maybe get a veteran stopgap, like 1 year deal, like a Justin Fields or something, or a Sam Darnold or something, and just hope that next year we can draft Arch Manning. And yeah, I love Arch Manning. He's a Manning, you know, Eli's nephew. It'd be great if we could get him, but here's the thing. We don't know for sure if we're even going to be drafting next year at the top of the draft with a chance to get him. What if we win, I don't know, 1 or 2 more games and we're like drafting 9 or 10 in the draft next year? And then we're not going to have a shot at Manning, and we lost out this year too. So that's that. I mean, I won't go too much into that. I know I've talked about it, a lot. So I won't get too much more into that, except to say that when you're drafted in the top 3, you gotta get your need player, whether it's a quarterback or defense or another offensive player. You got to get who your biggest need is, and our biggest need is quarterback. And to not go for a quarterback at 3, I think is a mistake. I think it's a big mistake. And I just read an article. Jaxson Dart, his draft capital is rising a lot. He had a really good bowl game, and a lot of teams are high on him right now and are probably telling him, hey, if you stay in the draft, because there's a chance he could do this like waiver thing, but he has to do it soon. This waiver thing where you do a waiver thing with the NCAA, and he could stay at Ole Miss for 1 more year, which I don't know why so many quarterbacks are doing that. I mean, just go into the draft, get into the NFL when you can, then what if you go back to college and you sucked out last year? So a lot of teams are high on him right now. I would think the Giants are probably very high on him right now. They're saying if his draft capital goes up even more from like the combine and his draft day, where you have guys come and see a throw, you're talking this guy could be the number 1 quarterback of the draft. Number 1 quarterback in the draft. So that way, if he might go number 1 overall or number 2. And if that's the case, then the Giants still have a chance at either Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. Or he does fall to 3. And he's still highly touted because he had a really good bowl game. He had a really good season. If you look at his season, he had a really good year. He broke a lot of records for Ole Miss. And he had a really good bowl game. And if he backs it up at the combine and at his pro day, not draft day, his pro day, then the sky's the limit for this kid. I say if he's there at 3, Giants got to take him. Because if we don't, someone's going to take him in the first round. And Mel Kiper now is talking like there's a possibility after his pro day and after the combine and after an excellent bowl game and after an excellent season, Mel Kiper might put this guy as the number 1 quarterback in the draft. And I've been saying that for the longest time now. I did not originally find out about him. I was more high on Milroe. I guess I didn't know a lot about Jaxson Dart, but the more I read up on him, the more I see of him, I really think he is the quarterback that we got to go after. And I think if we don't, we're making a big mistake, because it's not a guarantee we're going to be drafting 1, 2, 3, or even 4 or 5 in the draft next year. Get them while they're hot. Get them while you can. You're at 3. That's a prime spot for a quarterback. And if Jaxson Dart's stock rises, my only thing I worry about is at the end of that article I read, they were talking about that waiver thing and he could go back to college. Hopefully he decides to stay in the draft so he's an option. And hopefully the Giants aren't stupid. And if his stock is rising and goes even higher by the time the draft comes around, hopefully the Giants aren't stupid and don't draft him at 3. Hopefully they draft him at 3. Because if they pass on that kind of talent, this is not Daniel Jones 2.0. I can tell you that right off the bat. He's got a way more accurate arm. I was having a little bit of an argument with a guy who was saying that Eli didn't have an accurate arm, because I was saying this kid has an accurate arm like Eli. And he's saying, but you know what? He had it when it counted during the playoffs and the Super Bowl. You know, I mean, you can't really argue that, I don't think. And I see a very accurate arm. I see a guy that could run. I see a guy that could win you ball games, win you football games. And like I said, his stock is rising. A lot of people are seeing it. It could rise even further depending on his pro day and the, what is that day called where they the combine. You could see this kid be the number 1 quarterback. Go for it, Giants. Don't let me down, please. If this guy's in the draft, you gotta go for him. And if he's not in the draft, if he does go back to Ole Miss, like the report said, he very long shot, but he might, then my pick would be wait till the 2nd round and get the Notre Dame quarterback. Although I think his stock could rise too. He's going deep into this playoffs. Riley Leonard, he's going deep into this playoffs. He could win the whole thing. I mean, that's got to raise his draft stock if he does that. If he looks really good against Ohio State, that's got to raise his draft stock. If he looks bad, then no. Then maybe I'm going to say no, hard pass on that. If Riley looks bad, Riley Leonard, and if Jaxson Dart goes back to Ole Miss, then our last hope is Milroe. And do I really think Milroe is the future? No, but I'd probably draft him in the 2nd round. Or draft back into the 1st round at the end to get him. Anyway, that's going to be it, guys. Don't sleep on Jaxson Dart. I think he's really good. And I think the Giants would be making a big mistake if he's there at 3 not to go for him. Or if he's taken before that, go for one of the other 2 quarterbacks. Go for either Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders.